Hey, hey, Blue Table fans, Sean here. And today is going to be kind of the worst painting video in the history of the world. There's got to be like a zillion people doing this better than me. So, anyway, I got my Vallejo paints. You can't see them because they're off camera, but I've got, how many is it? 23 Orruk infantry, so the 3 basic heroes. And I primed them black, and they have this brick overspray on them. I did have to shore it up by hand using Vallejo Hull Red, which is a great brick color. In fact, I call it brick. So here's my Weird Knob Shaman, and then I've got 19 boys. And this is going to be like really boring. And I have no idea what even I'm going to talk about. So yeah, I picked a good dry brushing brush, made sure it's really dry. I usually break up the bristles on my hand like this. And I'm twisting the brush a lot. It's hard to notice, but it's an important maneuver. I was watching a Netflix special called Chef's Table France, and this French cook was talking about gestures, that he would learn not just new recipes, but that he would learn gestures of how to, plate the dishes. And that really impressed me. So again, I'm twisting it and going around and around to get a really super, super, super dry brush. It's still kind of congealed together and it's a little gloppy, so I de-glop it on the table. And again, as I'm doing it, I'm twisting the brush. So that should give me a nice light ghost brush, as I call it. Yeah, that's still actually a little bit heavy, but if I take it pretty light, I should get just the right amount on there. So this is a method. It's a really weird method of painting, and you have to have a lot of faith in it and really understand how it works in order for it to be effective. So I'm going to ghost brush this pale sand on. And you can't really see it, but it's just going on to the very edges of everything and kind of livening them up. And the whole model is going to look completely wrong after I do this. So like I said, you got to have a lot of faith in this method, but it's really a good one. And I've got Cameron, our old art director, and Joseph to thank for this. They actually developed this. And apparently when you do 2D painting, you actually put a layer of like brown ochre on the canvas, and that so the other colors will show up like warmer on it. So that's kind of what we end up with here. And typically, for the most part, you try and follow the line of the light, so like you bring the brush down, but sometimes you have to go sideways or even up, when you're getting in these shadowy areas. And there you go. So now he looks like a little earth tone black and white photo. It should take about 60 seconds to do a guy with this. Oh, that's turning out really good. That's really fantastic. And I call it a default color, meaning whatever from now on this model, if something doesn't get painted, it actually was painted. It gets sort of the default look to it. So after you pick out your major fields, you end up with something that looks really nice, and you don't have to go in and do all of those details. So these guys really, what I'm doing here is just a basic BTP level 3 job, and I'm doing it for my own hobby, so this isn't exactly terms of service, like it's like, well, you said it was level 3 and you didn't do it like this. Well, sometimes we do it differently, as long as it meets the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is that the model looks good, or as good as it can for the level of painting. You could send us pictures of a golden demon winning paint job and still just get a basic Wargamer standard from us, and we'll just try and get it as close as we can. But I call it the cool mini or not syndrome, is that people look at sites that are like labor of love And it's like, well, but you know, that's not going to be a commercial paint job. So there's 2 guys. So I'm not really timing myself, which is a bad habit for someone in my profession. I'm going to de-glop it. Just kind of hit it on the edge of the table to make sure there's no big old chunks of paint in there. Ooh, this is still really thick. Because, you know, you're just barely hitting the edges on these guys. But if it goes on a little thick, that's actually okay. That will not be too bad. So it's under highlighting because when you put, so like let's say you took 2 flat canvases, very small ones, imagine this, and on one of them you're going to put black primer and then maybe a black layer of paint, so it's really this flat black. And then on the other one you're going to do the same thing, but it's going to be white. It's going to be pure white. Now you're going to do swatches of different colors on that those 2 canvases. So you're going to take let's say you're going to take red, and you're going to paint the red, a little swatch of it directly over the black, and a swatch of it directly over the white. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Well, guess what? Now, even though you use the exact same paint, you're going to have 2 different colors on it. And by the way, if you like this, if you're interested in this, and you'd like me to personally do an army for you, and that could mean converting it too, because I'm really good at conversion work. I have 1 slot for that open in October, and this is the first time I've done this in like a long time, actually taken a commission. And I'd want it to be something of interest to me. That would be nice. They say beggars can't be choosers. Well, I'm not begging. I think there'll actually be a decent amount of interest in this. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Like I think too highly of myself, if that's possible. So anyway, so when you put paint over this, the paint, even though it's the exact same color of paint, the areas where it's painted over the dark portion of it are going to look just a little bit different than the areas painted over the light portion of it. So, and it's very much a different way of painting, and I think it looks really good. I really wish you guys could see this guy. In fact, let's just see if I can. Oh, I can't see a thing. Hold on. Can you see that? Oh no, that's terrible. That is not. Well, maybe. Well, that's. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's what he looks like now. Isn't that kind of scary? Almost like I've ruined that model, you know. But do not worry, he is going to look great. So if I'm doing them even in 2 minutes each, it means in about 40 minutes I should be done with this stage. And this isn't the end. I'm going to do this again, this exact same thing again on the metal areas, except I'm going to do it gray, light gray. So this layer is actually done pretty light. So when I'll do the light gray on top of this. That will actually form the basis for all the metallic components. Because I am interpreting these as beaten sheets of metal. Haha, awesome. So anyway, well, there you go. That's my life. I answer emails, pack packages, make the runs, and really, I gotta tell you, I have quite a bit of peace in my life now. Take the dog out for a walk. It's funny, at some point there's going to be a woman watching these videos because she's cyber stalking me to find out what my deal is. Yeah, that's great. Then she'll call her friends over and be like, yeah, this is the guy that asked me out, what do you think? They'll be assessing me. You'll get a group assessment. That usually is how it works. Like if you're on a dating site, the first time you get viewed, it's just her. And then the subsequent times that you get viewed, it's her and her friends looking you over, seeing what your deal is. You know? So, there you go. Well, I'm the very definition of a free spirit, which is someone that lives by their own rules, their own notions. And the price of being a free spirit is that you don't get approval. People, like, you can't do that and seek for people's approval. You don't get that. But you do get to live life however you want. And that's kind of my deal. I do what I want, when I want, with whoever I want, however I want to do it. And that's basically it. So whatever's interesting to me at the time, that is what I am engaged in. Ooh, let's do the Mega Boss now. I'm starting to feel confident. So this is, there's 3 different types of dry brushing, in my opinion. Basic types. Whoa, that is still too heavy. And by the way, the big no-no for this method is you cannot have any brush strokes. Oh, I'm still getting brush strokes. Okay, let's start on the base. There you go. Now I think we're okay. There it is. You're not allowed to get any brush strokes. Like, meaning you can't actually see the brush strokes on any area of the model. Yeah, over the brick, this looks really good. And, you know, I don't need to worry about the metal areas so much, but I'm being consistent over the breadth of the model. So, there you go. Well, it's interesting. You guys know I've been very interested in, like, next level stuff. But I'm not like preachy about it. In fact, I believe the nature of how things work is that you don't really need to. Whatever anybody is putting out there, it's going to come to them whether you try to influence them or not. Or you know, like the old saying, when the student is ready, the master appears. And I'd certainly consider myself a student. I'm not saying I'm a master of any kind. I do jokingly say that I'm a Zen master. And, you know, that's kind of an infuriating thing about being in a relationship with me, at least for some people, is that, you know, I don't really get worked up over things. Sometimes I do. Sometimes those old bad habits come back, you know. But most of the time I'm just okay with how it is. And, you know, just that what I'm really interested in is painting miniatures. I really like doing it, and it gives me a sense of peace and accomplishment. Oh yeah, that hard edge is really coming out nicely. Wow! Dang, that looks great. That makes me so happy. That skull is going to look so good. So one thing I noticed over my last few projects, let's see, did I miss any parts? Nope, guys, that is a nice earth tone to work off of for that guy. What I've noticed in my last few projects is that you got to use, like, the name of a paint tends to steer you towards what you're going to use. So, like, English uniform, you're like, oh, you'd put that on cloth. Well, would you really? You know, maybe you'll put it on orc skin. And flat flesh, and because normally all those flesh colors, like, you know, pale flesh or whatever it is, I usually put those all in one group, and I only get them out when I'm actually doing skin. And you know what I found? I found that flat flesh makes a great color for fur. And, yeah. So, let's see. What are the different steps I'm going to do on these guys? So, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to do a regular dry brush on all the metal areas of light gray. Am I even on track here? Yeah, you can kind of see what I'm doing. A little off center. You can hear my chair creaking too. So then I'm going to do their pants in like earth tones, and I'm going to rotate around for that. They're not all going to be the same color of pants. So different types of browns for the pants. And I'm going to do their skin. And the skin is one stage. And you'll see that brick red kind of show through in the deep areas on their skin, and it will give them a nice tone. And right now, these guys meet the technical requirements for level 3. Well, in terms of layers. They don't, obviously they don't look good. I certainly wouldn't deliver something that just looked like this. But the default areas will look good just the way that they are. Yep, that guy looks good. Oh wait, no, I missed a part. Oh, hey, I got a text. That's actually one of my artists here. Here we go. Let's see here. I'm here. Okay, great. Yep, that's her knocking. Should we go meet Virginia? Oh, I just started another dry brush. Should I make her wait? No, I'll clean my brush and go get her. The dog's gonna bark. He's such a coward, you know. He would just wave that home intruder right on through. So I'm drying my brush. I check it, you know, as I'm drying it to make sure nothing's there. I have a clean, so I do a dirty rinse and then a clean rinse, and then I check. I shouldn't technically do that with my finger because your oils get on your brush. But take care of your brushes, and they'll serve you well. Well, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.